Um, like I say, most people would call me crazy, of course, but like I say, I remember um, this about bands like Kiss and some other bands. I was sitting inside my family room, and I was just sitting there, and or where was I? I forget exactly. I was somewhere, and like I say, well, I mean, my name is Lucifer Star, basically, LS, basically, like I say. Anyway, and I was just, I've been taking a vacation as basically being a normal person or being a child. And like I say, I remember I was in my living room or somewhere else like that, and or maybe I was driving with my dad or something like that, or with Rodney. I don't know if you can really call him my dad, but I was driving along, and I mean, I was there, and somebody was talking to me about complaining about the bands, about my bands. Like I said, the entertainers. I got quite a few angry or fussy phone calls. Like, like one of the people was saying, "Do you know what they did? They uh, they bit off the head of a rat or a bat." I was like, "Really?" Anyway, though, but I would get angry. I got like 5 or 6 angry phone calls, or fussy phone calls, and one time they called me up and they were like, we need to talk to you about um, some entertainers. I was like, well, what'd they do? And they're like, well, they there's some property damage. Anyway, basically, I got probably I forget. I wish I could remember the exact phone calls or the not the phone calls. It wasn't really a phone call. It's direct call basically. I just hear their voice in the air, that kind of thing. Anyway, though, about the band, and they were complaining about how they wrecked a room or wrecked what's it called. I just laughed, like I said, about every single one of them because I mean, like the one where I think they threw a TV out of a balcony, and they didn't really tell me all that much about it though, and I was like, just pay for the damages or take it. Actually, and like I said, this after this apparently after this really bad thing, like they did $7,000 worth of damage or $8,000 worth of damage, which I don't even know how the hell they actually damaged $8,000, and they were calling the hotel like a total loss or something like that. I was like, what do you mean How could they possibly do that much damage? Anyway, my people or somebody was saying they wrecked the entire floor or something, which I find hard to believe. I don't know how they could actually wreck the entire floor of a hotel. Um, I don't know what they did really. Like I say, anyway, at one point I finally said, "Well, tell them we're going to take it out of their pay or something like that." Like I said, I had to get a little bit fussy, but for the most part, I let it go for like probably 2 or 3 years or something like that, or a year or something like that, and basically, and then when it got really bad, they were calling a hotel a total loss or something like that. Like I say, I'm not explaining it right. It was actually kind of funny. Like I was just letting it go and letting it go and letting it go and not worrying about it. But they weren't paid that much, you see. They're paid like $5 an hour or $10 an hour, and like I say, I or we were making hundreds of thousands of dollars, millions of dollars. And that's when I actually decided to start doing profit sharing, like I say. Um, I admit, like I say, the thing was what was I didn't really realize or think about how much money was being made, like I say, and I was making a lot of money, like I say too. I didn't really realize how much money was being made. I mean, music and the music industry was like a whatever kind of thing. And the truth was, like I say, they weren't being paid that much. They're being paid $15 an hour or $18 an hour or like $5 an hour, depending on thing. They're being paid just like a carpenter. And like I said, we were making a huge profit margin. The only difference is that basically I was paying for all the expenses. Like if they went flying, if they were setting up a gig, as they say, if they needed a car, if they needed to stay somewhere, if they needed to stay in a house, like I say, I was paying for 100% expenses, and that was the difference. So, so basically, what I did was, so I mean, so of course, some were angry because they probably knew about how we were making all kinds of profit, And so, yeah, there's going to be some anger there or whatever. And plus, plus I was paying for all the drugs, any drugs they wanted, basically they would just be getting, if they wanted a girl, then I would put out the cost or expense, I guess, or something like that. Anything would be provided at basically the record company or my expense, basically. It's just like, yeah, whatever. They were kind of just entertainers. Anyway, though, things changed though. Originally, that was the deal. That basically, I hire them on, I sign them on, and then I pay for 100%, basically. Anyway, so basically, when they started wrecking things, when they started getting all angrier and stuff like that, I switched it over to, and eventually, slowly over the next like 3 or 4 years, basically, I switched it over to where they get more profit, but then they pay out more money. In other words, I no longer provide them with houses. See, in the old days, if you got signed to a big company or signed to me, basically, you could stay in any of my houses, you could stay in any of my hotels, and you would be provided whatever until the contract ended or until, whatever. So anyway, so that was the original contract, and that's the way it originally was. It's just like the White Star Lines in Belfast. Basically, once you were an employee, you could go anywhere on any of my ships. You could stay in any hotel at a discounted rate or for free. Basically, we were a family. Basically, anyway, things changed over the years, and I switched it over from as I was paying people more. Like I said. Originally, nobody could buy a car. Nobody could afford anything. And what they said about about the company store, about how you getting deeper and deeper in debt was true. So what I did was I just decided to start changing the pay rate and paying people more and more and more and more and more. Of course, like I said, that also allowed for a little annoying thing to start happening, which I didn't really expect, that I didn't really like, was the fact that a couple of people started to just skim off the top more. In other words, they didn't pay their people more. They just started taking more for themselves. And that's where I got angry, because it's like, I'm trying to pay everyone more. I'm trying to make everyone richer. So everyone can own a nice house. So everyone can buy a car. And that's where like 5 or 6 people or 25 people or 35 people decided to just not pay their people more, but to just skim off the top more. And that's where I got pissed off, because it's like, I'm paying everyone more so that people can. Of course, I also did say that if you run your team better, you can pay yourself more. But like $5 or $6. Like most company heads or most leaders were getting paid like $5 or $6 an hour when everyone else was getting paid like 2 or 3. So there was a little bit of a difference there, and all that other stuff. But I was trying to bring up everyone, basically. It gets all complicated, but yeah. Anyway, no one's going to consider this real or anything like that, and I don't really care. Things changed, and like I said, towards the end there, I just kind of let other people deal with it, because I was like, you know what, and quite a few times I was like, you know what, I don't even want to deal with it anymore. I was just done with the human race as a total, because of the problems. They were just, it was a nightmare. And besides, I wanted to be on a vacation. I was done with it. At one point in time, like I said, they killed the larger me or whatever. So, I died. And that's when I was like, that's it. I'm done. You just tried to kill me. You killed me. Like, I knew when I died. Of course I could sense that. But anyway. Well, for a while there, theoretically, I'm just Brian. And there is no larger me. So, anyway, I'm not exactly sure. A lot of things happened. Like I say, basically, the government was trying to do an eventual future possible thing. It's possible. You can work on possibilities. A lot of people, it's crazy, it's crazy, it's crazy. It's like, whatever, I don't give a fuck. That's why I'm not even bothering to explain it right, because it's like, you just say, people just say I'm crazy anyway, and they just fucked me over anyway. So anyway, and like I said, they realistically they just messed up everything for them. Actually, I said everyone was going to get life extension and basically living in a utopia. So, which is still pretty nice, But anyway, though, when it collapsed, we actually collapsed back to a further spot. things were a lot worse. But I don't. Like I say, I don't even care anymore. It's like I'm over it. I mean, the bands were nice, and mostly, actually, like I say too,